everybody. I'm Vera Stewart, and thank you so much for joining me tonight. I've got a wonderful show planned. We're going to do 3 great recipes. You know, I said, oh, I'm so stuffed. And you know why? Because all the recipes tonight are meats that are stuffed. So get ready. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to do a pork loin that has a great stuffing, cornbread. In fact, that's what I'm working on right this minute. Then we're going to do a wonderful chicken breast that has a spinach stuffing with garlic and feta cheese. You can use it as an appetizer or an entree. And then finally, a low country hamburger. So let's get started on this pork loin. The rub for this, you are definitely going to want to try because the ingredients are just scrumptious. I have fresh thyme that I just took the leaves and took them off the stems and grated them. That's about 2 tablespoons. Did the same thing with fresh rosemary. And you know, you can pick up these packages of fresh herbs at Fresh Market, and if you'll stick a little damp paper towel in there with them, they'll stay fresh for quite a while in the refrigerator. Okay, I'm going to add to that some kosher salt, light brown sugar, coriander, and the recipe that my original recipe calls for whole coriander. I didn't have that, I had ground, so I'm using about half of what the recipe called for. Some crushed red pepper, dry mustard, and then best of all, garlic. So I'm just gonna mix this up with my wooden spoon and get it all together. And then this is gonna be rubbed on top of about a 2.5 or 3 pound pork loin that I picked up at Fresh Market. And we're going to actually use the paper that it's in as a helper to get this rub evenly distributed. Let's add a little bit of cracked pepper to this. And this is a multi-blend pepper. And I'm going to do about a teaspoonful of pepper. And then if you don't have a lemon zester, you need to go get one because that is an awesome instrument to have in the kitchen. And it's so easy just to take the lemon. Of course, you want to make sure you've cleaned it first. And it just gets that zest off so well. And I'm going to put about a tablespoon of lemon zest. All right, so this is ready to go. And like I said, I'm going to use the paper. And when you buy the pork loin, and this is about a 2.5 or 3 pound, it comes with the wrap on it. And you just really want to pull that off. In fact, let me grab my knife and we'll get that off so that you can do a better job of getting the marinade and the rub on there. So just take your knife and get that off. And then we're going to just put the rub on the paper, and then this will help us, if I can get this off. All right, so we've removed the twine, and now I'm just going to leave it on the paper. And this rub is just so nice. It's actually almost kind of moist with the garlic. And I'm going to go ahead and smear it on the top. But then I'll put some on either side and then just kind of roll it. And let the paper act as your helper to get all of this evenly distributed all over the roast. So that you just keep working it in until you've gotten rid of all of it. And the aroma on this is fantastic. Now this is going to go in the refrigerator uncovered overnight. So your fridge is going to smell really good too. And I actually went ahead and did one last night. And this is how it came right out. And in order to be prepared to stuff it, I just took my knife and made a clean sweep across it. So the stuffing that goes in here is a little bit blander because there's so many wonderful seasonings on the top. But I've used the cornbread that I love from the Fresh Market. And I've just crumbled it up really fine. I've got cheese nips. Do you remember cheese nips, for heaven's sakes? That shows you how old this recipe is. And then about a cup of rice. And then I've sauteed celery and onion in about a half a stick of butter. I'm going to add this to this. And even if you're not going to use this recipe to stuff a pork loin, this is a wonderful stuffing just to put in a pan and cook if you're having fried chicken. All right, so we're going to moisten this with some chicken stock. And then I will start the process of getting this ready to stuff. So come back with me in just a minute and we'll be ready to get this thing searing in a nice hot pan. Welcome back, and while we were gone, I got this pork loin stuff. That stuffing is so delicious. The cornbread from Fresh Market is so good. The cheese nips, sauteed onions and celery. I put it through the center and then just wrap the twine around it. And there wasn't much seasoning in the cornbread stuffing because there's so much in the meat. And now I've had it searing for a couple of minutes in this pan. We'll do 2 minutes aside. Doesn't that look awesome? This is going to be so good. It's so tender and moist. But I've got a broiling pan that we're going to cook it in, so I'll go ahead and spray that really well. And now this is just about ready. And while this is finishing, I'm going to get started on the stuffing for the chicken breast. I've got another pan that I have olive oil in, and there's olive oil actually in this big pan too. I'm going to put a clove of garlic in there. And we'll go ahead and put the fresh spinach in and let that start cooking down. And people are always so amazed at how little bit of spinach you'll have when this process is over. But that's going to be cooking. Now this is just about ready. So I'm going to transfer this to the pan. All right, then that's going to be going in a 350-degree oven for about 35 to 45 minutes. So let me get this out of the way, and this would be a great pan to make some wonderful gravy to go with that as well. So let's move this over here, and then we're going to get started on the process of getting those chicken breasts ready. So these are boneless, skinless chicken breast, and handy mallet. You know, there's a lot of reasons to have one of these handy, but one of them is to get chicken breasts ready to be stuffed. So I love to use Ziploc bags when I do this because it just makes it so much easier. But just put the chicken breast in, and you just want to pound until you have the thickness that you're looking for, which is about 1/4 of an inch when you're going to be doing a stuffing. And you know, a lot of times people will say that, you know, just unlike the pork loin that we're doing that's going to be so full of flavor with all the fresh herbs, chicken breast you really have to season. Even if the recipe doesn't tell you to salt and pepper those chicken breasts, you certainly want to do that because you will lose a lot of the ability for that to be really flavorful if you don't. Okay, so this is the olive oil, the garlic, and the spinach sauteing over here, and that's coming along just great. So now I've put my kosher salt in a small container so that once I'm through salting, I can throw this away and I'm not putting my chicken fingers down in my vessel where my kosher salt lives. So I'm just going to sprinkle each one of these with salt. And then again, I love to use the fresh cracked pepper. And we'll flip these over and do it again. But the way we're going to serve this can be twofold. You can use it as an entree, or you can cut it very thinly and use it as an appetizer. Okay, now this is just about where I want it to be. I love for it to get cooked down, but I don't want to cook it to death. You want to have a little bit of life left in that spinach. So I'm going to take this off the heat now because it's just where I want it to be. And we're going to flip these chicken breasts over and salt and pepper the other side. And again, this is something that can be done ahead. If you want to do a really great dish that you can have in the freezer to pull out, you can get this step done roll them, get them in the freezer, and then that's a quick meal to pull out at the last minute if you haven't made plans for dinner or you're having company. A little bit more salt. And then we're ready to finish this spinach. Okay, what I love with spinach is feta cheese. So I've got my crumbled feta, and I'm just gonna add that to it while it's hot. All right, that's gonna be ready to go. So when we come back, we're gonna get these stuffed and in the oven along with that pork roast, and we are on our way to getting really stuffed tonight. So come back with me in just a few minutes. You know, I get asked quite a bit, what should I take if I'm going to a dinner party? Well, you don't necessarily have to take anything. I know you probably have a lot of bottles of wine, I know I do, from people coming to dinner. But what about a nice bottle of olive oil or balsamic vinegar? You know, if the host really loves to cook, that's a great idea to help them along as they engage in their food preparation process. Another thing I love to suggest is, what about that favorite book that one of your children loved growing up? If they have children, a book is a great option as a hostess gift when you go to a dinner party. You know, everyone loves their pets. What about something for the dog or cat? You know, that's another way to show that you've been extremely thoughtful and thinking about what you want to take when you go. So just remember, you don't always have to take a gift, but when you do, try to think of something a little bit creative to make your visit memorable. The question is, are you stuffed yet? Well, you should be, because that's all we've been doing on the show tonight. But I hope you're enjoying it. I'm loving sharing these recipes. But while we were away, I went ahead and got started on the stuffing process. The spinach and the garlic just came together really great. Put a little bit of feta cheese in the pan. And like I said, I've got 5 of them done. So this last one, and I love to take my pan whenever I'm trying to portion things out and kind of make a visual divide. So I had 6 chicken breasts. I used a whole bag of fresh spinach, and I'm gonna get just enough filling out of that bag of spinach to stuff these 6 chicken breasts. So that's a great number if you're planning to, you know, visualize this in terms of when you make it yourself. So come down to about the midway point of the breast, and then you just wanna roll it up, and you want to have the seam side down in your pan. And like I said, this at this point could be put into a container that you could freeze. And in fact, I could freeze in this if I wanted to have that much space taken up in my freezer. But you do want to have enough room in between each one of them that they cook all the way around. And I'm going to actually put a little bit of cooking spray on the top, or you can put butter, either one. But that's ready now to go into a 350-degree oven for about 35 minutes to cook. So let's get started on these wonderful hamburgers. Low Country hamburger. So I started with 2 pounds of fresh ground chuck, and I love the 80-20 ground chuck. And for those of you that do not shop at Fresh Market, you need to start. You can get on their email list at thefreshmarket.com. And if you'll go one step further and put Augusta, you can see what their specials are. But on Tuesdays, a lot of times they have this ground chuck on sale for $2.99 a pound. And of course, I always go when they have it on sale. So I love to make dishes with the ground chuck when they've got it on special. So I've divided the 2 pounds into 4 rounds, and I'm going to divide each of those in half. And I've already seasoned the meat, you know, with a little bit of egg, salt and pepper. You can put whatever seasoning you want to in the actual hamburger. But as you can see, I love to just take each one and just kind of pound it down for just a few minutes in my hand just to get it to go and get, you know, well put together so there's not going to be any place where the filling can leak out. You want to get this first patty to a little bit below 1/4 of an inch, kind of like we did the chicken breast. Really nice and thin. All right, so now I'm going to take a piece of Swiss cheese, and you can use whatever kind of cheese you like. I folded it. I'm going to put that in the middle. Then my low country is Vidalia onion, and this time of year I'm using a cherry tomato, but if tomatoes are in season, certainly put fresh tomatoes. But I'm going to fill the center of the hamburger with what you would traditionally have on top. And if you really love a cheeseburger, you might want to put extra cheese on there at this point. But now I'm going to turn my skillet up, so this is going to get a great sear when we put it in. I'm going to get the lid done, and again, you want to mash it down really flat. And I'm working on top of parchment paper, or you can use wax paper. So now I'm going to pick it up, and you just want to take your thumb and just mash the two patties together all the way around. And I mean, use your imagination on this sort of thing. You know, I'm calling these low country because I'm going to garnish with okra and the things that you think about, you know, in our neck of the woods. And of course, we love to go to Beaufort, so anything low country is very appealing to us. But you just want to make sure that you've got all the edges sealed. These can go on a grill, or in this case, how about a cast iron skillet with bacon drippings in it? You know, I have to get a little crazy sometimes on the way I cook, but I love to cook hamburgers a lot of times, preferably in the pan instead of on the grill. All right, so again, this is just dividing the meat up, doing the filling. So we're going to put together all three of these dishes in a very attractive fashion for our buffet tonight. And you know, this is where I love to use my imagination. Even in the dead of winter, I can set up a picnic in my house with quilts, and you know, the things that represent summer can be in the house whether it's summer or not. You know, basically that time of the year it's too hot to really enjoy the outdoors anyway. So, you know, use your imagination with things when you get ready to kind of have a theme with your meal. And remember that the freezer is your friend. You know, we all get so uptight when we're having people over, but if you'll do some of these things ahead, like make these burgers the day before, the seasoning is actually going to go all the way through this meat, and it's going to be so much better. Well, we are well on our way to a stuffed extravaganza. So come back with me in just a few minutes, and we're going to get this whole thing set up, and you're going to really feel stuffed. Hey, welcome back, and we have had the best time tonight doing all these stuffed recipes, and I certainly hope you're going to try them. The recipes are available on our website at NBC26.tv under the VeryVera Show, but I certainly welcome any emails directly to me at vera@NBC26.tv. I love to hear your comments. Love to see you in the grocery store when you're buying the ingredients to make these recipes. But what I've done is I've taken a really great hamburger bun, and I love to toast it in the frying pan or under the broiler and keep the top nice and moist. So we've got a little bit of butter and we've toasted them. And then I've made almost like a sauce that you would use with fish, because this is a low country hamburger. So this is mayonnaise, a little bit of horseradish, some ketchup, and Wickles pickle relish. Love to use Wickles. So let's see which one of these hamburgers we're going to try. And they all turned out so good. Nice and fat, really juicy. Okay, so put that there. And then let's put a little bit more of this on the top. Got a little bit of lettuce. All right, let's cut this in half and see what we've got. Hope that filling is going to show up. Absolutely, there it is. So I'm going to walk down here to the plate that I've already prepared for it. And to make it low country, we're serving it tonight with fried okra sticks, sweet potato fries, and a little bit of fig preserves because I actually like the sweet and salty a little bit on that. So now over to the pork loin. Absolutely gorgeous. Love the way this turned out. We seared the cabbage while we were away. Got a nice crisp brown on that. I have fresh sage. Just a beautiful presentation, and this was the pan that we seared it in, if you remember. So I didn't clean that up. We used that to sear the cabbage. And now this becomes my serving platter, and I'm going to put it right here. Three Monkeys provided us with all of the beautiful wicker, wonderful serving trays that they have over there. And they also have these great ceramic vegetables that look really good with this. All right, then finally we've got the stuffed chicken breast that has the spinach. And the sauce for that is just really delicious. I did a fresh tarragon with spring onions. So again, a little bit of mayonnaise, a little bit of zest of lemon, the fresh tarragon, the spring onions chopped up. And as you can see, we're using this as an appetizer tray. And this is actually all 6 of those chicken breasts. So just so you can see how much that you get out of that. Or you would have had 6 pieces that you could have fanned out on your dinner plate to serve. So try these recipes. I hope you've gotten some great ideas tonight. Remember, I'm doing all of my cooking classes with children on Saturday at the cottage, and all summer long. You can learn about that at VeryVera.com. But remember now, try these recipes, and whatever you do, do it in good taste, and I hope you'll be stuffed in the meantime. So come back to see us next Saturday for another episode of the VeryVera Show.